Yo people, welcome back to another review, this time The Bad Batch Season 3 Episode 4. Now, I don't know what it was, but this episode was supposed to be the typical quote-unquote filler episode, but I think because we're in the end game now, most things they do just can't be filler, they can't be boring, and they don't have time to waste. I think there will be people who still call this episode filler, but I have to disagree. This episode gave us world building, it showed us how corrupt the Empire is and that absolutely nowhere is safe. It created a lot of tension. It allowed us to see Omega's gambling that she learned while playing with the Bad Batch at Sid's old place in previous seasons, while ending at a great point, setting up the next episode organically. It wasn't anything forced. But most importantly, the dynamic between Crosshair and Omega was highlighted. These are the two characters from the Bad Batch that have had the least interaction, so it was good to see that. And considering they are the polar opposites in terms of personalities, it was good to see that flesh out and see how they work together. I think also the Empire is treated a bit better than in Rebels, for example. Despite the losses that they just took, they still do intelligent or sneaky stuff that affects the heroes, unlike in Rebels where they are absolute idiots and it's so easy to defeat them. I think the episode ended very well. We saw Hemlock basically up the levels in terms of patrol, tightening security, all of that stuff. I think the Empire will fail one more time before we start seeing bounty hunters, maybe bigger cameos or stuff like that. We also see the reunion between Omega, Hunter and Wrecker, which they managed to make pretty emotional considering the time gap between Season 2 and Season 3. I'd say it shows how well they've developed the story and the bond between the characters that, despite the gap in terms of release from Season 2 and Season 3, we still felt the connection, having only seen them apart for 4 episodes? And like I mentioned with the organic finish to the episode finishes with Wrecker and Hunter having a face-off with Crosshair. Nothing gets said, but obviously it builds a lot of tension heading into the next episode. I did have some issues with the episode, and it was the fact that Omega always gets her way. She always makes a fuss, no one ever just shuts her down and teaches her that it's not always about you, it's not your way or no way, it's about the team and all of that stuff, sacrifices have to be made. She always wants to get everything done, she's a completionist. Even in the episode with Batcher, like, she tried to risk the whole mission just to save Batcher. I personally wouldn't have done it, to be honest. And they've kind of put her on this Luke Skywalker level of kind-hearted, but in comparison to Luke, she's just a kid. She's living in the most dangerous time in the galaxy, and she doesn't have the force abilities that Luke does to kind of risk those type of things. I want her character to suffer. I'm not even trying to be mean, but I just want her to suffer, kind of have this optimism taken out of her for a bit, so she can kind of have that character development that we've been waiting for. I know people will say, oh, but she's less annoying now, so that's character development. I get that, but I don't know. I think she needs to suffer. And she has suffered through Tech, but it didn't really affect her per se. I thought Tech's death would give her more of a reality check, knock her confidence a bit, but it really hasn't done any of that, to be honest. But yeah, overall, I'd have to give it a 7 out of 10 just for what it was and the type of episode that we could have got in comparison to what we actually did. This was a lot better. I know if this was in Season 2, Season 1, it would have been garbage, but they've done well. I enjoyed it more than episodes 1 and 2, definitely. And if you like happy endings, I recommend you stop watching the show now, because the fact that they've even reunited this early is way ahead of my predictions. It just means that the L's that are going to be taken and that are coming up are going to be massive. Like I've said before, I expect a lot of eliminations and a Vader scene minimum from this show. Whether he's the one doing the eliminations, who knows? But there will be a lot of losses in this show. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Drop a like, sub to the channel as well if you haven't already. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.